Okay, we're going to be studying zero and negative exponents. And as a reminder, powers are made up of a base, the big number, and an exponent, which is a smaller number in the upper right-hand corner. All right, so 3 to the third. 3 to the third is equal to 3 times 3 times 3. Multiply 3 by itself 3 times, and you get 27. 3 to the second is 3 times 3, and you get 9. And 3 to the first is just 3. Okay? Now what I want you to notice here, let me get my marker ready. What I want you to notice here is that to go from 3 to the third to 3 to the second, how did you go from 27 to 9? Right, you divided by 3. Okay? And how did you go from 3 to the second to 3 to the first? Well, to go from 9 to 3, you divide by 3. So each time that you go down, you divide by 3. So what if the next number was 3 to the 0? Then what would 3 to the 0 be equal to? Well, going along the same method that we've been doing, 27 divided by 3 is 9. 9 divided by 3 is 3. Then 3 divided by 3 would be 1. So 3 to the 0 is equal to 1. That'll work with anything, by the way. If you did it with 4s, you would divide by 4 each time. If you did it with 5, you would divide it by 5s each time. All right, for every non-zero number, a to the 0 is equal to 1. So 3 to the 0 is equal to, 3 to the 0 is equal to 1. 2 to the 0 is equal to 1. 1 to the 0 is equal to 1. 0 to the 0 is not equal to 1, because up here, remember, it said for every non-zero number, a to the 0 is equal to 1. So 0 to the 0 power is equal to 0. Okay? But remember, the exponent only applies to the number or variable that it is next to. X to the 0 is 1. 2x to the 0 is 1, because the 2x is in parentheses. That means the 0 applies to the 2x. But 2x to the 0 is equal to 2, because the x to the 0, the 0 is only applied to the x, the letter that is directly next to. So that it would be 2 times x to the 0, which would be 2 times 1, and that's how we get the 2 answer. Okay, your turn. Do these 4 problems. Get back with me and just pause the video and get back with me, and we'll see how you did. All right, 3y to the 0. 3y to the 0 means 3 times y to the 0, which would be 3 times 1. So the answer would be 3. 4xz to the 0. Let's write this one down. So that would be 4 times x times z to the 0, which would be 4 times x times 1, which gives us 4x. 5xyz to the 0, the whole thing is to the 0 power, so the answer would be 1. 6 to the 0 times x equals, so 6 to the 0 is 1. 1 times x is equal to x. Did you get all 4 of those? I hope you did. All right, 3 to the third. Let's go back to this again. That's 3 times 3 times 3 is 27. 3 times 3 is 9. Then 3 to the 1 is just 3. 3 to the 0 we said was 1. So each time, remember that we have been dividing by 3. Okay? So what's going to happen with the next one? We go 3, 2, 1, 0. What's the next number that would come up? 3 to the negative 1. So 3 to the negative 1 is going to be the same number divided by 3. So it's going to be 1 divided by 3. So that gives us 1/3. So 3 to the negative 1 is 1 over 3. Now think about this. What would 3 to the negative 2 be? Well, once again, you would divide by 3, and you would get 1 over 9, or 1 over 3 squared. What the negative exponent tells you to do is to move the exponent to the other side of the divisor line and make it positive. Let me explain to you what I mean. This is 7 to the negative 3 over 1. To make this a positive exponent, what you're going to do is take it and move it to the bottom down here. So it'll be 7 to the third, and 1 would remain on top. What if you had 8 to the negative 2? Well, once again, you would move it to the bottom. So that would go down to the bottom and be 8 to the 2, and the 1 would be here. Why is there a 1 on top? Because, see, what you're doing is this is 1 times 7 to the negative 3. When you move the 7 to the negative 3 to the bottom, you're left with the 1 up there. This is 1 times 8 to the negative 2. So when you move the 8 to the negative 2 to the bottom, you're left with the 1 on top. So if you have a to the negative 10, to make it positive, would be 1 over a to the 10. Now think about this one. What if you had 1 over a to the negative 2? What would you do to make it positive? Yes, once again, when it crosses the divisor line, it changes the sign of the exponent. So it would be a to the 2 over 1, or just a squared. All right, your turn. Tell me what you would do with these. Pause the video, think about it, and then get back with me. Okay, 8 to the negative 3 would be 1 over 8 cubed. And whenever you have a number, go ahead and work it out. 8 times 8 is 64, times 8 is 512. So that would be 1 over 512. 4 to the negative 2 would be 1 over 4 squared, which would be 1 over 16. And 1 over 3 to the third, that means you're going to move this to the top. So that's going to be 3 to the third equals 27. I hope you got each one of those. What is the simplified form of the following expression? Okay, when we say simplified, we mean only positive exponents, okay? So this one is fine. It's 5 to the 1, so it stays there. 8 to the third, a to the third stays there because it's a positive exponent, but b to the negative 2 needs to go to the bottom. So this is going to be 5a to the third over b squared. What is the simplified form of this expression? Okay, we've got a excuse me. Let me see if I can get the lights back on. There we go. A to the negative 2 over b to the negative 3. So we've got a negative exponent on top that needs to go to the bottom. So that will be a to the 2. We've got a negative exponent on the bottom that needs to go to the top. So that's b to the third. All right, did you get that? What is the simplified form of the following expressions? You take your time, pause the video, and do these, and then we'll see how you did. All right, did you get 1 over x to the 9th? How about this one? Did you get 4b over c to the 3rd? And this one would have been 1 over m2 n 5. Now this last one, the big one, that would be 7 times s to the 0 is 1, so 7. The 2 to the negative 1 goes to the top, so it goes up here. Then on the bottom, you're going to have the t to the negative 5 goes to the bottom, and the m to the 2 stays on the bottom. And then to simplify it, it would be 14 over m2 t5. The reason I did the m first is because the mathematical way of doing it is to put the letters in alphabetical order. Okay, what is the value of 3s cubed t negative 2? For s equals 2 and t equals negative 3. You've done this kind of thing before, it's just never with exponents and negative exponents. So let's do this. All you got to do is take the s equals 2 and plug it in for the s here, and the t equals negative 3 and plug it in for the t here. Now what I like to do is to simplify the expression first. So we've got 3 s to the third t to the negative 2. That means that the t to the negative 2 has to go to the bottom, so it'll be positive. So we'll have 3s cubed over t squared. Then let's just plug in our numbers. 3 times 2 cubed over negative 3 to the second, which gives us 3 times 8 over 9, which gives us 3 cancels out with 1 time, and down here 3 times, which gives us 8 over 3. Okay, very good. Let's move on to the next one. It's your turn. What is the value of this expression for n equals negative 2 and w equals 5? Remember, all you got to do is simplify the expression first and then plug in these numbers for the values, okay? Alright, so we've got negative 2 for n. We go negative 2. It's always, got to change colors. We've got negative 2, put them in parentheses, okay, to the negative 4, and w is 5 to the 0. Okay, negative 2, I didn't simplify it first, did I? So let's go back and simplify it. How embarrassing. So let's simplify it first, and we'll move on after that. So n to the negative 4 has to go to the bottom. So that gives us w to the 0 over n to the 4th. Then we plug in our numbers. 5 to the 0 over n to the 4th. That's negative 2 to the 4th, which gives us 1 over negative 2 to the 4th would be 16. So 1 over 16 is our answer. Did you get that? What is the value of each of these expressions? Now, there's something you're going to be supposed to figure out from this. So what is negative 2 to the third? You remember the exponent only goes with the item that it's directly next to. So this 3 only goes with the 2 here. So you already know that the answer is going to be negative, and 2 to the third is 8. Over here, the negative exponent tells you that it's going to move to the bottom. Okay, so that means it's going to be 1 over 8. Over here, you've got negative 2 to the third, so that's going to be negative 2 times negative 2 times negative 2, which gives you negative 8. And then over here, you've got a negative 3 exponent that goes with the 2, so that's going to be 1 over 8, and the negative sign tells you it's going to be negative. Now, how do you know when a number is going to be negative? Okay, it has nothing to do with the exponent. Okay, nothing at all to do with the exponent. The way you know is if there's a negative sign out in front of it. Okay, in each one of these circumstances, there was a negative sign in front of the number that lets you know that it was going to be a negative answer. The exponents have nothing to do with whether or not it's going to be a negative answer. Okay, so don't get confused and see 2 to the negative 3 and think that's going to be a negative answer. They're only negative if they have a negative sign in front of them. Okay.